From the east to the west, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. It is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. And man, I'm telling you right now, what a Monday it was yesterday. We didn't do too well in the ASUN tourney last night. We got the backdoor sweep. We actually lost both of those games. So the teams from Florida are going home as well too, so not a good look. But Queens College getting their first conference Division I win yesterday. That was incredible. And also Bella Marin, another team that is pretty new to Division I basketball as well too, gets a big win as well. So that was huge for both of those schools. But you know what? Today is a new day. We got 4 tournaments going today as well. We got some I'll be talking to you guys about that in a moment. But all in all, though, you guys already know what time it is. It's time for us to get into what's the latest news. And the latest news right now is going to be this, and that's going to be the news when it comes down to the Chicago Bears right now. The Chicago Bears have went ahead and let us all know the most public secret in all of sports, that they are now officially shopping the number 1 pick in the draft. Who will be the highest bidder? That's the question, right? So pretty much from what I'm seeing here is you have the Texans drafting second, you have the Colts drafting 4th, you have the Raiders drafting 7th, then you have the Falcons drafting 8th, and then you have the Panthers drafting 9th. So from what you have, from what I just said, and then you can almost maybe throw the Lions in there as well too. But as I keep saying, I don't think the demand for quarterbacks is as heavy as the media is putting it. I think that teams will play this thing smartly and make sure that they are investing in the face of their franchise for the next decade, not just going and getting a guy to fill a position, because there's so many different options at the position that you don't need to jump to in the first 10 picks. Now, the Bears are fortunate enough to have a quarterback already in Justin Fields, and I think that at the end of the day, the Bears should not be thinking about trying to draft any type of quarterback, which they're not. But this gives us the idea that they're not even going to walk down that road and look at that option, because they confirmed yesterday that Justin Fields is the official starter going into the 2023 season. There is no competition for his job. He's their quarterback. And what I want to really say is this: the quarterbacks that are in this draft that are the top quarterbacks aren't better than Justin Fields. So why would you take any of them over Justin Fields? So pretty much what comes down to it is the Bears are going to send this to the highest bidder. Now, when you're Houston, you might not want to give up any draft stock, period, point blank, because you know that you're still going to be able to get the second best option at quarterback. And I think that they really want CJ Stroud badly. And they hope somebody does make that move with the Bears so they can go get Bryce Young. And Bryce Young is seen as the number 1 quarterback prospect in this draft as well too. Even though they've tried to discredit his height, we all knew that he wasn't 6 foot. Come on, man. Like, let's keep it real. They come to find out he's only 5'10". And you put him right next to Kyler Murray. I told you guys about me seeing Kyler Murray at SoFi Stadium when they played the Rams last year. Not this year, but in the 2021 season. And pretty much that guy was literally about 2 inches shorter than me, and I was looking at him from the field. So, and I'm only 5'9" myself. So pretty much I think that that's the biggest overhype that there is about his height. You know that the guy can play. He's been dealing with the height situation forever. So it doesn't really matter. I think that's just some good draft talk to kind of throw a monkey wrench into things. Anthony Richardson has become a highly touted prospect as well too. It looks like he's probably going to become the third quarterback off the board. I don't see him jumping over CJ or Bryce at this moment. I think what happens here, though, the two teams that will be able to give up some stock on this one will be the Colts. But do they want to? With a brand new coach who probably wants to build that team in the vision of how he wants that team to look, or you go ahead and you make the deal with the Panthers. The Panthers are a team that really does need a quarterback in a sense, but really they can also tell themselves we can give Sam Darnold another year to really prove if he can be our quarterback. They play exceptional football once he took over the team, and I don't think Carolina needs to really jump into that boat right now. So it really comes down to a team like the Raiders who would be willing to go ahead and sacrifice picks to make that deal happen. I truly do feel, though, when it comes down to it, though, the Bears will work the situation to get rid of the pick, to trade out the pick. But I don't think that the Bears best options aren't even with the top 10 team right now. I think that the Saints could hand them some good assets as well, too, if they're willing to give up a player in the process as well. So I truly do think that their best partner is the Colts. But if you really want to go ahead and look at it in all senses of the word, the team that they can get the most from will probably be the Raiders, because the Raiders are desperate right now because they truly don't have a starting quarterback going into next season as of yet. And they would love to know that they have the first opportunity to take the quarterback that they want to lead them into the future. Or they can stand pat and hope for Will Levis or Richardson to still be available. But once again, if the Raiders stay at 7, there's no point of drafting a quarterback. You might as well take Paris Johnson. So with that, Chicago is going to keep all of us on suspense for a while here. I think that when it all comes down to it, Chicago will probably stay on the pick because they want to get a king's ransom for this situation. And will teams be willing to give up a king's ransom for? I'm just going to say it. I feel like he's already the number one rated. I already feel like he's going to be the number one player taken overall or the first quarterback off the board. Are you willing to give up a lot for Bryce Young? It's that simple. You know what I mean? Are you looking at him as if he's a John Elway, a Dan Marino, something like that? Or do you look at this and say to yourself, you know what, we'll take our chances and hope that he can land to us? It is what it is at the end of the day. But the Chicago Bears, you have the power. You do. You definitely do. All right, let's go ahead and jump into 30 teams in 30 days. 30 teams in 30 days is going to be today with the Cleveland Guardians. I keep calling them the Indians, but they are now the Cleveland Guardians. We got to be correct with how we approach this team. Now, you have this squad, the Cleveland Guardians, and they are looking to improve upon a 92-70 season last year. They were absolutely tremendous in the second half of the season, the best team in the second half of the season as well, too. Everybody should have really knew to take the Indians seriously when they came to LA and swept the Dodgers. Like, they weren't even playing great baseball at that time, and they were a plus 200 in each and every game they played against the Dodgers, and they swept them that weekend. Now, when you look at it, and then after that, the team just took off from there. So pretty much with that, you say to yourself, they can't do anything but go up. But we all have to remember that they are a very, in a sense, they are a team that you do say to yourself that they can regress because they have a lot of young players, and it's based on those young players staying healthy. And that's always been an issue for the Indians. If they can't have guys stay healthy, then they usually have a mediocre season. But this time around, I mean, with the Guardians. So with Cleveland, with the great leader that they have in Terry Francona, you don't really question anything that's going on with that team. You say to yourself, they will improve upon this. And they do have a good pitching staff to move forward with for this team as well. And when you look at their lineup, they got one of the better hitting lineups in baseball. And they're a clutch hitting lineup as well, too. So the Indians present a lot of things that get you kind of excited about what they are moving forward. You know what I mean? And I just truly feel like this team in itself is a team that is a team that can find themselves in the mix to possibly get that first title in the last, what is it now, 70 years? They haven't won one since 1954. So, there's you look at things and you say to yourself, this team can be whatever they want to be this season. They don't look like the 95 Indians, one of my favorite teams of all time, if not my favorite team of all time. They don't look like the 97 Indians. They don't look like the 2016 Indians either. But this team does have a lot of spirit. They have a lot of grit. And they got some of the best fans in baseball rooting for them night in and night out as well, too. Because you got to understand, they live Cleveland baseball in the city of Cleveland. And bringing in Josh Bell was huge. You know what I mean? Things didn't work out with the Padres, but now he's with the team that really needs him. And when you look at that middle of the order, you are going to get a lot from Jose Ramirez, who is worth every single penny that they paid for him. And then you do got Josh Naylor there as well, too, who's a really good player at first base. And then Nino, their catcher, is really good as well, too. He's going to be a very good bat whenever he's in the lineup. And Stephen Kwan up at top is very, very good. And they might have one of the better base running trios to start the game off as well, too. Ahmad Rosario, Stephen Kwan, and Jose Ramirez are all guys that will be taking bases. And then they either have a guy in the 5-hole in Jimenez, who steals bases as well, too. But he's also a very sound hitter as well, too. So when you look at the Indians, you tell yourself, this can be one of the best hitting teams in baseball. And then when you look at it, you can say to yourself as well, too, they may be one of the best teams when it comes to actually seeing the ball very well. Now, when I look at this pitching staff, Shane Bieber is to come back, and he wants to improve upon the great season he had last year. But I think the key to the staff of him having a great season is Tristan McKenzie. He was showing a lot of flashes of a superstar, and I think that he can take over this rotation as the top guy this season. And if he does that, sky's the limit for the Guardians. Cal Quantrill, Savali, Plesac, these guys are around probably a top 5 rotation, in my opinion, in the MLB. So that's where the Indians are going to really make their bones at, is on the pitching. But then they got the hitting to back it up. But this is still going to be a tough year in the division because they don't have just one team that they're trying to shake off. They have 2 teams that they're trying to shake off, and you really don't know what the other 2 teams are going to be capable of doing as we move forward. We have to understand that the Tigers are in Miggy's final season as well, too, and they might want to actually show up for the guys. So, that might be something that we're looking at as well, too. And then also Kansas City is always a wild card. If they get off to a hot start, they possibly could be a team that can go ahead and go a little bit further. But when I really come down and make my total prediction on this Guardians team right now, I would say this Guardians team will go over 86.5 wins. They may have the best record in the American League if they go ahead and really put their if they can really go ahead and stay healthy most of the season, because they have the pitching staff in place that can get them way more than 86 wins. They could be a 100-win team this year, but that will be asking a lot of this Indians team. But I think to win their division, they're going to have to win at least 96 to 97 games this year to actually win the division, because the Twins will be back. The Twins probably do have the stars of the division on their team as well, too. And we'll talk about them in the next coming days, because tomorrow we got Kansas City. Then Thursday we talk about the Twins on Friday, actually. Tomorrow we're going to talk about Detroit. Then Thursday we talk about the Royals. And then we finish up with Minnesota. So with that, I like the over 86.5 on the Indians right now. I'm looking at the number on it. It's you're not getting plus money on it. It's actually a -130. So they're saying that they feel good about it as well too. But it's even money if you like the under, because they could still be a playoff team and win 85 games. So you might want to look at that even money as well too. But I like the Guardians to go over to 86.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. I'm really looking at them to have a great race with the White Sox this year. I know I keep mentioning the Twins, but if the Twins are at top of the division, they'll probably run away with the division. Now, when it comes down to teams that will fight for the division, it's going to be the Indians and the White. It's going to be the Guardians and the White Sox. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into some boxing news. What's going on, nephew? How's everything going with you? I hope you're good. I hope you're feeling great. Life is doing everything right for you, man. I'm glad that you joined us for the show today, man. All right, boxing news. We got ourselves a big fight going on this weekend in the city of Ontario, out here my way, out here in Southern California. Don't call it LA, because it's not LA. It's a place called the Inland Empire. It's very close to, it's in San Bernardino County. Okay, so it's out in that area. So it's really on your drive to Vegas is where it's at. Okay, it's about 45 minutes away from me. 45 minutes with traffic is about an hour, hour and a half. But thing is Cali, so these places aren't far to us. So pretty much with this one right here, you got a great matchup between Brandon Figueroa, the former WBA, former WBC bantamweight champion, going against the former featherweight WBC champ Mark Magsayo. And the thing is, these guys, this is a WBC eliminator as well too. Ray Vargas just lost his fight last weekend at 130 as well. So he's actually probably going to come back down, and this will be a big fight because they will be fighting for the opportunity to fight Ray Vargas, or for the opportunity, if he drops the belt, to become the champion themselves. So Brandon Figueroa is a guy that wants to get back to where he was at. He had a really bad loss to he had a really close loss to Stephen Fulton. I was one of those people that felt that it should have been a draw, or you give Brandon the edge because he was the multiple champ coming into the fight. And it was a unification fight as well too. It was one of the better fights that you'll see of period point blank of 2022. And a lot of us were just, all of us were jaws on the ground. It was a great night of boxing in Vegas that night. They had the fight at the MGM Park as well too. So Brandon was really frustrated after that fight. He was able to come back around, have an outstanding performance for his debut at 126. He ran into some little issues with the law as well too. The guy is it happens. He's getting older. He's getting a little bit more richer as well too. So sometimes, the dedication that you had to not be one of these crazy folks outside the ring, it'll catch up to you after a while, because when you live in a little small town in Texas and you're like the most popular person in town, life is going to be like that. So Brandon Figueroa is on a mission to prove to everybody that he's still that clean-cut kid from the bottom of from South Texas. And pretty much this is a big fight for him moving forward, because he does want to get back to being a champion as well. Mark Magsayo, somebody I know very very closely. Mark Magsayo is not going to be trained by Freddie Roach for this fight, so you guys can go ahead and notate that part right there, that Freddie Roach is not involved with Mark Magsayo anymore. If you mess with boxing on a daily basis, you already know this. Mark Magsayo is actually a guy that has that one-punch power that can end the fight, and we all know that. And this is crazy because they have one common opponent in Julio Ceja. Julio Ceja fought Brandon Figueroa to a draw. Mark Magsayo beat him on a comeback knockout in the 9th round. The fights were literally almost the same exact way, but Brandon Figueroa was able to stay in there and really brawl with him, and so that's where the fight got even. What happened with Mark is that Mark was able to knock him down early, and then Mark couldn't win. Mark was having some issues when it came to the actual boxing portion of the fight, but then he went all in on himself and said that, and they told him that he had to get the knockout, and he went ahead and he answered the call and he knocked him out. So that's what makes Mark Magsayo a very intriguing boxer, because the thing is, when he needs to come to the when he needs to when his back's against the wall, he'll figure out a way to really get his back off the wall. And he had points and times where he almost knocked out Ray Vargas in the last fight as well too. I felt like it was just a little bit too much. I think he was wasting punches a bit too much in that fight. And I think that if he was a little bit more accurate, he probably could have got Ray Vargas out of there, or he could have probably won the fight with a close decision as well too. He did go in there as the champion. So I think when it comes down to it, this fight is going to be one of the closer fights of the whole year in boxing. And it's really hard to call who the winner is going to be, because this is more of a 50-50. But I feel like the slight edge can go to Brandon Figueroa, because Brandon Figueroa is not scared to sit there and bang with you. And it's going to be, how long can Mark sit there and bang with Brandon Figueroa? That's the whole thing, because Brandon's going to bring the fight to you. But one thing Brandon's going to have to do is he's going to have to understand that he is dealing with a guy that has a lot of power. And so you just can't go bang with a guy. So that's where it kind of is a very good fight for Mark Magsayo, because it gives him the opportunity to actually fight with somebody who's not going to be moving around too much, and they can just sit there and they can see who's going to be the strongest of the strong. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But Mark Magsayo and Brandon Figueroa face off Saturday night in Ontario at the Toyota Center as well too, for the WBC Interim Featherweight Title on Showtime Championship Boxing. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward, and we have ourselves the fight that everybody's been talking about for as long as they've been talking about for the last few years. And it's finally been made, and the fight is set for 4/22 in Las Vegas. No venue has been confirmed yet, but why is this fight in such high demand? Well, because it's easy. Both these guys are in the prime of their careers. They're both are the social media craze of boxing. Both these guys are people that have many followers, and their followers are absolute, loyal, dedicated fans or loyal, dedicated haters. It's either or. These guys are also guys that have kind of crossed over to a mainstream audience without asking for that mainstream audience to pull up. They are guys that go viral every time that they do have a fight, every time they do have a knockout. So this fight right here really calls for a lot of hype to it, a lot of promotion to it, and a lot of people are going to be very heavily involved in this fight as well too. Now, after what happened with Jake Paul and Tommy Fury on Sunday, the buzz in boxing grew even louder. And, they had just went ahead and announced that this fight was going down. They're going to have a press conference next week too. I'm trying to get the information now, because possibly it's going to be in LA. So I'm trying to make sure I'm there as well too, to take part in the presser. So we have a very good, it's a hyped fight. It's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be excited about this. This is going to have a whole fight week situation where there's going to be a lot of people involved with covering the fight. I can see the Foxes, the ESPNs of the world trying to do radio roads and trying to pull up and actually be a part of this event, because I know that they are going to bring out a radio road for this, because they are going to be asked by a lot of people to, for credentials with bigger media, because big media doesn't cover boxing anymore. Okay. You don't have boxing being covered by newspapers anymore, where they send out the beat writer to go ahead and cover the fight. Those days are over with. But they do have the guys who are the ones that cover boxing and very closely, and those guys will be there. And also, what happens is since this is a big event, this will bring out the big boys like FS1 and ESPN as well too, possibly. Possibly. I don't want to jump the gun too much because boxing is really at a state right now where people have their issues with it, and it's very obvious as well too. But they've done the right thing because I keep it real because Jake Paul put the pressure on him because Jake Paul is getting the biggest draws in boxing, and he's making a lot of money, making 25-30 million dollars, and guys are starting to realize that you can't keep fighting gym buddies and gym guys that are really good boxers, but they're not the fights that the fans want. You know what I mean? You guys can't keep fighting tune-ups, all right? And we're at that point now. So really, in my opinion, this fight is a put up or shut up fight for both of these guys. We've heard a lot coming from both camps, but this fight right here is the ultimate show me state fight. And I feel like this fight, if it doesn't end in a knockout, nobody's going to be happy about this one. It can't be some great fight that goes 12 rounds. This fight to everybody is guaranteed to be a straight knockout. And who's going to get that knockout? That's the biggest question. So with that, we'll have more on this fight as we move closer towards the date. We got to make sure that the fight is actually going to happen. So we're going to be watching everything very closely with this fight as well too. I say that because Tank has a little bit of an issue with his court cases and things like that, and it does look like he will be getting sentenced around the time that they are going to have this fight. So we'll see how this one shapes up, but this fight to me delivers everything that every boxing fan has been anticipating over the last few years, because they got we all kind of got played a little bit about Crawford Spence because it never happened. They said they had came to agreements, but they never signed anything. This fight has been worked on for the last 6 months, and I think that they're trying their best to make sure that this fight doesn't fail. Promoters want to make sure they make their money here, okay? So with that, we're going to wrap it up on the boxing for now because we got a bunch of basketball to talk about. Yeah, LaMelo did fracture his ankle. I'll be back more to talk about that in a second, though. So pretty much with that, you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Kappa, and I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Kappa, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. We got the Lakers going on today, and pretty much we got we got a lot of things going on. They worried about the Lakers and their situation, but Charlotte gets dealt another blow. The Ball family gets dealt another blow. Man, it's just really sad, man, that Zoe is having his knee issues and his knee is just not reacting right. And then little brother, who's already been an all-star, everything is like the young face of the league and everything like that, fractures his ankle last night. So, things just ain't looking good for LeVar, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the Lakers, though, man. State of the Lakers, big game tonight coming up against Memphis, a team that the Lakers have actually been pretty good against this year. They did win the last time they played as well, too. AD, it's your time to take over as the leader of the Lakers. We all know that LeBron's going to be out for the next 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks, and the Lakers have to put their big boy pants on now, okay? They're all right. They're okay. Big brother will be right there on the sideline with them. I think this is a perfect time for the Lakers to prove that they can do this without LeBron. And I promise you they can. They're not going to win every game. Let's just put that together. But when you look at the Lakers situation going into this month, they did exactly what I wanted them to do. I said the Lakers had 10 games this month. I said the Lakers at worst need to go 5-5. The Lakers right now are 5-4 for the month, with the possibility of being 6-4 for the month. Okay. So they did that part. They finished that part of the mission because I understood that we have more road games in February than we do in March. The Lakers have 10 home games with 5 of them in a row. Okay. They got 15 games next month. And 10 of them are at home. Okay. So most of their games next month will be at home. So in this first 2-week run of LeBron not being on the court, they're going to have 2 road games ahead of that, then five home games after that. So let's just say LeBron misses the next 7 games. Okay. The Lakers should, to me, be the next 8 games because this is the end of the month. So I would say this, the Lakers will be good at, say, 5-3. All right. Win 5 out of 8 of those games. And they're still in good shape. Because people have to understand that the rest of the Western Conference is going to fall in place. Sacramento can't hold for much longer. I know that a lot of y'all are excited about what Sacramento's doing. Blase. Mike Brown's a great coach. But the thing is, though, the Kings don't know how to win at the end of the year. In my opinion, they don't know how to win yet. You know what I mean? Where you really are confident in what you're doing. A lot of their games that they have, they're good wins, but they're even surprised they won the game. And once you get out of that mentality, as you know, where you're surprised you're winning the game, then that's when we can take you a little bit more seriously. But at this point in time, the Kings are having a great season. They're finally broken loose. And I told everybody, the one team you had to look out for was the Kings, because they drafted Keegan Murray. They made all the right moves that you were supposed to make moving towards having a great team. And then they said, okay, De'Aaron Fox, go ahead and take us to the promised land. But they also have Sabonis as well, too, who's been a big bonus to everything that De'Aaron's been doing. So they're in a good place right now, but that means absolutely nothing because they're getting comfortable. Now they're 10 games ahead of 10 games above 500 for the first time in 15 years at this point of the season. So, you know, there's a lot of things that is new territory for them. So it's almost like they fell into it. And I feel like the rest of the West is starting to get it, and they're starting to catch up. Phoenix is nipping right at their heels. The Clippers are nipping right at their heels. The Warriors are not too far behind them either. And the Lakers are only sitting 6 games back of the lead from the Pacific Division. The Pacific Division is the best division in basketball, and it has all these teams set up to be those teams in the playoffs. I feel like for real, we're going to have 5 teams from one division for the first time ever in the playoffs. And they're all going to be in the playoffs, not the play-in. You know, so this is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely nuts how good this division is this year. And the Lakers literally should have already thrown a white flag in, but they're still going about it. They haven't not been last place literally all season, but they're the best last place team in the NBA record-wise. Nobody else is better than the Lakers would be leading other teams' divisions right now, or be second place somewhat in some other teams' divisions. So this has been a trying season. This has been a hard season for literally everybody in the West. And I think tonight the Lakers know that this is a game that they're going to be a big dog in. And this is the one where they can go ahead and surprise everybody with a big effort from AD, and who I truly think they need a big effort from tonight. Believe it or not, they're gonna need Wayne and Gabriel tonight. I think if you can get Wayne in some playing time tonight, he's been so hot when he's in the lineup. He's good for a good 10, 12 points quickly. He just has foul issues. But I think that if you can get this guy to make up for those points that LeBron's not providing, I know it's not going to be LeBron's 25, 50 point, 25, 30 points, but he supplies 12. You get 10 from Obama, then that makes up for LeBron's effort right there. You have to understand the Lakers have 8 guys that are scoring in double figures right now. So that's why I'm not so worried about LeBron not being there. That just means that other guys are going to get their opportunities tonight. So I like where we're going here. The Lakers are 21 games out, and right now it's all about the next 2 weeks without LeBron, but really it's all about this home stretch that's coming up in March. The first one with the 5 straight home games, in my opinion. So those are going to be critical games moving forward for the Lakers to really show if they are going to be a part of this playoff thing. All right. So with that, I've said enough. Let's go ahead and jump into NBA Tuesday night. NBA Tuesday night is a full night. We got 10 games on the slate tonight as well. And the first game that we have up tonight is a game that would have been more hyped up if the usual suspects were a part of it. But Giannis is out with an injury. And then you have KD and Kyrie. They're not there anymore. The Brooklyn experience failed pretty much. And, it's kind of sad because this was the opening game of the season, and a lot of people had this idea that Bucks and Nets was going to be a great playoff series as well too. You have the Bucks coming into this game 43-17, while you have the Nets 34-26. The Bucks are actually tied for the first seed right now, and then you have this Nets team. At one point, they were fighting. They were right there with Philadelphia, tied for the 3rd seed. Now, and then we're sitting at the 4th seed. Now Brooklyn's sitting at the 6th seed, and they're actually 2 games ahead of Miami right now, who leads the Southeast. But Brooklyn, they ran into not having their superstars anymore. Brooklyn has had a really bad month this month. They're 3-7 this month. So Brooklyn's trying to get this thing right. Brooklyn is, for every win, they get 2 losses. And Brooklyn's still in shape to make the playoffs, in my opinion. But I think that they need to start stepping it up. They're not a bad team. You know what I mean? I know they don't have KD and Kyrie anymore, but they have a great coach. But I think Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Spencer DeWitty, these guys are going to take it upon themselves to start being tricky. Nick Claxton's still there as well, too. They got 6 guys scoring in double figures. Those are things that I look at that can help your team. They weren't able to get rid of Joe Harris, but Joe Harris probably will be somebody that steps it up. Ben Simmons is a guy that literally you're not going to be able to trust him too much, but Ben Simmons is still a guy that you think of that he can quite possibly start heating it up a little bit and get it back together. And they got a lot of really good players on this team. Let's just keep it real in that accord. But they got to put it all together. That's the thing with the Nets. But they're 3-7 this month. They have absolutely been taken to the woodshed by the Bucks all season as well too. So, the Bucks are real confident coming in this one without their best player. Now, this team has won 13 in a row, including 9 in a row in the month of February. They're 9-0 in the month of February. So they may do exactly what Phoenix did last year and finish a month perfect. And, today is the game where they can finish the month perfect. So there's going to be a lot of money riding on the Bucks tonight because they're the hottest hand in the league. And, when you got the hottest hand in the league, everybody's going to throw their money on it. But a guy like me who always likes to play the villain in a situation like that, I'm on the Nets all day with that bet. There's a 226.5 over and under as well, too, -5 on the spread. That's the early number. That number has jumped up. Why? Because the number. Why? Because that was overnight last night, and I was doing a lot of that stuff last night when I was putting it together. So it's jumped to 6.5. That's a number that tells me that they are over betting the Bucks, and they're going to keep over betting the Bucks. So that's not good for Bucks backers, in my opinion. I'm taking the plus 6.5 on the Nets, and this is a possible upset tonight as well too. So do not sleep on taking a plus 220, plus 230 on this game as well too, because you don't have Giannis tonight. So they are somewhat too much of a favorite tonight without their best player, and you can't trust that situation. And the Nets are really desperate for a win, and this team has been doing a lot of winning. They're good. They're in position to be in the playoffs. So, at the end of the day, they're not going to break their necks to try to break the Lakers' 33-game winning streak. It's just not – that just is not going to happen. So I see the Nets at least covering in this game, if not winning this game tonight. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we got ourselves a matchup in the Southeast. I was just talking about that earlier, and we have the Southeast going down tonight. And you got the Wizards 28-32, and the Hawks are 31-30. The Wizards have stepped up their game. They were a team that was going through the motions for a while there, but now they've actually lassoed themselves up. They're in good position right now. They're actually in a playoff position as well too. And so pretty much from what I'm seeing here, you have a team in the Wizards that started off the month with a 3-game losing streak, but then won their next 4 out of 5 after that, and then find themselves losing the last 2 games in a row. But all in all, the team is 4-6 this month, and they have made strides because they had a really good month the month prior. They finished up the month of January on a 6-game winning streak. So I'm looking at this team right now. They're sitting in 3rd place in the Southeast Division. They're kind of far out right now, but they're not that far out. They're only 4 games out. So they can make a run, and Miami and Atlanta start to struggle. They can absolutely steal this division. But they are a part of this group. They are a part of the play-in group right now. So right now, if we started the playoffs today, they would be the 10th seed. So Washington is a danger to the Hawks tonight because this isn't like a walk in the park game for the Hawks. It's just not. And the Hawks come into this game, brand new coach in Quinn Snyder, and they have their doubts. They're really sitting here questioning, should they be moving forward with who they thought would be the face of their franchise, and Trae Young. So they have a lot of questions to be asking. You already heard Snyder say that he's not going for any BS. So I think that this experiment with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young might be a little short-lived right now because they just brought in a new coach. And you know what? They would love to get back a lot of those picks as well, too. But they're not going to be able to move those picks to a team that's trying to build up through the draft. So, they might be a little stuck with these guys at the moment. But let's keep it real. This is going to be like Trae's 3rd or 4th coach. He hasn't even been in the league for 4 years. So, at some point, you got to stop blaming the coach and you got to start blaming the player. And it seems like Trae Young has been a little difficult with the front office. So that's why they're having their little issues and everything like that. So pretty much I like the way that this game sets up. You have a Hawks team that's really good this month. They're 6-4. They just won their last 2 in a row, but their trend has been this. They win 2 in a row, then lose 2 in a row. That's been their whole month. So that's why I said you have to really pace yourself with this game against Washington because Washington can really walk in here and really shake up the apple cart, in my opinion. So I like to say let's not pick a side, but let's do the over and under here. And I do love the under 234 in this spot, even though it was 235, 233.5, and it was going up. Now it's under 234. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Kings and the Thunder. The Kings and the Thunder, we have 35-25 are the Kings, and the Thunder are 28-32. There's a plus 2.5 spread to this as well, too, and there's the over under a 238.5. All right, so you have a Kings team that, as I said before when we were talking State of the Lakers, this Kings team is playing some of the best basketball in the NBA right now. There's really no stopping them right now. They've won their last 3 in a row and their last 4 out of 5 as well too. Now, this team has won 7 games and lost 4 in the month of February. They've actually had themselves a pretty crazy game last Friday with the highest scoring game of all time, 176 to 175 against the Clippers. And they did have to come back in that game as well too. At one point, they were losing by, I think, 12, 13 points in the fourth quarter. I know at one point I turned it in. I looked at the game and they were down 139 to 129. I said, well, it looks like it's probably over. But you guys know that night I had Sacramento as the dog plus 220, and we put them on the super high 5. So they did work it out for us and get us a really, really good win there. So they've won 3 in a row. They're very confident right now in what they're doing. You know what I mean? This team is just going about their business. 3-game winning streak, no problem. They got Oklahoma City, a team they already beat on Sunday night. They got a day off. They got to enjoy the city a little bit. Now they get back to them tonight. They won that game by 9. This is a tricky spot because you have the Thunder who are chasing the playoffs right now. The Kings literally the only thing that will kill the Kings' playoff hopes is if they lose the next 15 out of 21 games, which I don't see happening. So, they're at 60 games now. They got 22 left. So if they lost, say they went 5-17, that one might be a problem. You know what I mean? Because they would finish up 40-42. They probably would miss the playoffs. But I don't see that happening. They are possibly a 50-win team as well, too. I would like to say probably 50 wins is a goal for them. But I think realistically, they'll probably be a 48-49 team win. 48-49 win team. So I think that when it comes down to this one, you got OKC, who's a little bit more desperate here because they are starting to kind of the cracks in the armor are starting to show a little bit. They were in the play-in situation. They were ahead of the Lakers for a bit as well too, but now they've been moved to number 13. Now they've lost their last 3 in a row, including their last 4 out of 5. And before that, they had won 3 out of 5, including 2 in a row. Now, this team is sitting up here with the record of 4-6 for the month. So they look to this one after having a nice little road run earlier this month where they won 2 out of 3 games. They haven't been good since that point after beating the Lakers and beating the Blazers the 7th and the 10th. Now, when you look at their last 5 games, they lost to New Orleans by 3. They beat Houston, who's not beating Houston right now, but then they lose by 1, and then they lost by 9, the same exact score back-to-back at Phoenix and versus Sacramento. So this team is really desperate to get a win tonight, but I think all in all, though, it's smarter to play the over here. I feel like there's going to be a lot of scoring. As you can see, this team is giving up. I just gave out the numbers for you. They're literally giving up like 120 points over their last 3 games. I think that and they're scoring almost 120 points their last 3 games. So I think that this would be a big over, but I think that we still hit the big over tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But we're sitting at 236 right now, and hopefully we go ahead and get that bad boy home. So let's go ahead and move forward, and let's talk about our next game, which is going to be the Pacers and the Mavericks. The Pacers come into this game hungry, very hungry. 27-35, the Mavs 32-20. They just coming off that bad loss against the Lakers, blowing a 27-point lead. The Indiana Pacers have played themselves out of the play-in. They were one of the better dog teams in the NBA. They caught a 5-game losing streak this month as well. They are actually 3-7 this month. This is probably their worst month since the start of the season. So, this team had went on a nice little run for a moment there in November, and then pretty much came back down to earth in December for a moment there. Had a nice little run there at the end of December, the beginning of January. But since that point, they have not been a really good team. I'm looking at everything right now. At one point, they had lost 10 out of 11. And then this month, they've lost 7 out of 10. So it's just not good right now for that team. You know what I mean? In my opinion, it's just not good for them, and, I just said it, and it's just crazy because This team is literally like 4-18 since that point where they had won 3 out of 4 in early January. So, this team is desperate. They're very desperate. The Mavericks are a team that are starting to get a little lackadaisical, in my opinion. I think they're a little comfortable right now with the idea knowing that they're going to make the playoffs. But I just don't see the gelling going on with Kyrie. This team lost is literally since Kyrie got there, they haven't been a good team. They've won 1 game since Kyrie got there. They've lost the last 4 out of 5 games. Seriously, it hasn't been anything good for this team. It hasn't. And they got a good win over San Antonio, but they're supposed to beat San Antonio. Then they blew a 27-point lead at home on a national game. So a lot of people have this different idea about this team, even though they came off of a good road trip as well, too, where they won 3 out of 5 of those games. So, this month has been kind of trying for the Mavericks because they got a brand new teammate, and they had to get rid of some really good guys to bring that teammate in as well, too. And those guys were a part of the nucleus of the team, so they got to get used to those guys being gone and Kyrie being there. And Kyrie is not the same player he was when they won a championship 7 years ago. Kyrie has been dealing with a lot of injuries over the last 5 years. And I think that, it's really not worth your time having to give up all that. But Kyrie literally put the Nets in a position to where they couldn't move forward without trading him. So it is what it is at the end of the day. This is going to be another really good game, but I'm going to go crazy right here. And nephew, I hope you hear me. But we going to go a little nutty tonight. Give me that plus 290 on the Pacers, man. Let's go ahead and shake up the system because the Pacers are good to walk into your arena and beat you. Ask the Warriors, ask the Lakers. It doesn't matter what their groove is. Tyler Halliburton is a guy that I fully trust to get his team to the finish line if need be. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game, our final game, which is going to be the Warriors and the Blazers. I feel like I've reviewed this game like 20 times this season. Every time they play each other, it seems to always make the super high five. So I'll be real quick here. I think that the Warriors are a team that knows that they got to keep winning or they're going to be out the playoffs. It's that simple. They are really like they're really razor thin right now. The Lakers are coming, the Blazers are coming, and the Blazers, this is an important game against the Blazers because they don't want to get the Blazers any idea to get that they're going to be, near them. And, this would actually not be good for the Warriors because I think they would wind up splitting the series this year. So pretty much I think what happens here is that you have yourself a full-on Golden State big-time performance. Yeah, I know you don't have Steph tonight, but I think they step it up. I don't think Dame is going to come in here and drop 71 points on you. And after you have a big game like Dame did, everybody's going to anticipate Dame having a big game again. He may not even scratch 20 points tonight because that's how it'll be when you have those big games. Your next game is never going to be a game that is really a game where you absolutely kill. So when you look at their records this month, you have a Blazers team that, they just had a good win over the Lakers, but they have won 5 games this month and they've lost 5 games. So they're 5-5 right now. And the Warriors right now, you don't know what the Warriors want to be, but the Warriors at this point right now, they're actually 5-6 and they've won their last 2 in a row. So that's a good confidence boost as they try to get this sweep, as they try to end, the month on a good note. And this is the 3rd game of a 5-game home streak as well too. So, after that, they go on the road for 3 games and then they go on the road for 5 more games after 2 more home games. So they got 8 road games next month. That's going to be kind of crucial with the Warriors because they are one of the worst teams on the road. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but I'm going to take the Warriors tonight with the -4. And I think that should work for us tonight. And the over is a good bet as well, too. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our conference tourney bets for today. And we got ourselves a good group of games. And we got Talkin Tickets coming up right after that. We got the A-Sun quarterfinals today. We got Lipscomb with the +120. We got North Alabama with the +7.5. We also have Liberty, who's the favorite to win this tournament with the minus 16.5. They are a minus 200 favorite. But I like Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State is right. These guys are the number 1 seed. They're having a breakthrough season. This team actually won 1 game a few years ago, maybe 2. They were absolutely dreadful. Their first season in, Division I, and they were actually a team that used to be, I think, in the MEAC, but they moved on to the A-Sun. So pretty much now they're in a better conference, and now they can recruit better. So I like Kennesaw State with the plus 290 to win the whole thing. But I like them tonight with the 7.5 in a tough spot with Queens College, who got themselves a great win last night, their first Division I conference win last night that they got as well too. And Bellarmine is another team that's brand new to Division I as well too. They got a great win as well too last night, but I don't think it's going to be enough for these teams with the top 2 seeds in Liberty and Kennesaw State. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. The A-Sun Tourney quarterfinals. All right, first round of the Horizon League tournament. We got Detroit with the minus 5.5. They have the lead scorer in college basketball right now playing for them. We got IUPUI. They're another team that's, bottom of the food chain in the Horizon, but they're going to show up. It's these seniors' final game, man. They're not just going to lay down. I love the plus 14.5. Green Bay, a 3-24 team. Yeah, they're having a dreadful season, but once again, I'm playing the senior aspect that they're just not going to lay down in a game that looks to be their final game of their college career. So I'm going with the old adage of don't quit, even though we don't have a chance. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Patriot League tourney. The first round, I got Holy Cross with the upset tonight with the plus 185. I feel like Holy Cross is a team that you can trust. Loyola is a team that you can't trust. So I don't mind taking Holy Cross. And when you take the teams that have the best religious names like Holy Cross, they usually come up for you because it's a hope and a prayer for these teams to win, and usually that prayer does come true. Now we have the American U. They're going against Bucknell tonight. They're one of the teams you can look at to be a possible winner of this one as well too, but they've struggled here in the last few weeks going into the tournament. They could get beat tonight, but I think American wins this one by double digits or better, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Then we have ourselves the Sun Belt tourney tonight. We got Coastal Carolina with the minus 120 in a toss-em-up spot against Arkansas State. And then in another toss-em-up game with Georgia State and Texas State, I like Georgia State with the plus 4.5. They just got street cred in the Sun Belt. All right, so let's go ahead. I got to move quick because we are actually getting to the hour point. PrimeTime PK6, 42-1, 8.5 on Butler. Virginia, 6.5. Georgia, plus 110. Kent State, minus 8. Michigan State, minus 185. And then the nightcapper, plus 7.5 with Fresno. Dog Day Tickets, 64-1, plus 320 on North Alabama, plus 335 on Ball State. Holy Cross, plus 175. Binghamton, plus 110. Let's see how it goes. And then we finish up with the NBA tonight. Plus 6.5 to the Nets, under 234 to the Wizards and the Hawks, over 235.5 to the Kings and the Thunder, and the Pacers money line plus 290. And then we end up with the Kings minus 4, 51-1. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be Talking Tickets for you guys today. All right. So I always really enjoy doing this show with you guys on a daily basis. I got my energy back. I got my flow back. And, I'm feeling good, man. And there's a lot of positive things going on in the world, in my world. So I'm trying to stay positive daily. And I'm thanking you guys for helping me do that. So thank you so much for tuning in once again. Another great show. I had a lot of fun with this one today because I was able to get out a lot of information to you. So I'll be back tomorrow. It's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be it's going to be a fun day tomorrow. So you guys make sure to tune in. And as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.